Well, we're here at actually Monaca High School today. Central Valley Middle School, I don't even know. It used to be the old Monaca High School, now it's Central Valley Middle School. But we're just here in these bleachers. We're actually sitting backwards to get a good camera angle. Kind of weird, like you have this little spot right here. But this is my friend Matt Hoagie, also known as Hoagie. And he's just making a video today, and we're trying to just make these videos to just get out in the open about things that have been going on, to give all of you the gift of going second. And what that looks like is now that we're able to talk about these issues, now you're able to go second and talk about them as well.
It's very true. Thank you for helping me out with this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I gotta talk like this. I was a smoker for 2 years, 2 packs a day. So it kind of messed with me, and I gotta hold my hand over here when I talk. Hope that's not a problem.
Actually, that's 100% not real. So
yeah, I'm just kidding. I don't smoke.
So, I mean, just initially, there's a bunch of people probably out there that don't know anything about you, so why don't you just tell a little bit of your life, or, you know, anything that you really would want people to know that never have met you before.
Well, I'm not a smoker. My name is Matt, like he said, and a lot of people get to know me as Hoagie. And after a while, they just forget to call. Actually forget to call me by my first name, and they don't even know it. But really, all around general, not such a bad kid after all. Growing up was a little tough, but we can get to that later. But now I'm got myself on a track where that I need to be on. So basically, I'm set for life. I hope.
Well, yeah, and I mean, there's always ups and downs. But
yeah, they come and go
that's the thing.
As they need it.
But I mean, actually, why don't we just start at the beginning, and which would be going back to, you alluded to when you were younger and stuff. I mean, going back to that, and even just, I mean, questions like, you know, I know you're in a church now. Were you always in a church, or what was your life like growing up, kind of a thing?
Growing up, it wasn't so bad. I've always been involved in churches, no matter where I lived. Started out in a Presbyterian church out in Enid. Nice little church, good get together every once in a while. I've always went there. Then things got, my home life, things got messed up. My dad and my mom they'd constantly argue, so that kind of got us, you know, we didn't know what was going to happen the next day, and then they got divorced and my dad moved out. After that, I really I didn't get to see him that much, because we never called him. Of course, apparently that was my choice, that if I could call him if I wanted to, but I just never got around to it. Then as I got older, things weren't going good with my mom. I didn't like the situation she was putting herself in. I didn't feel safe, so I got in contact with my dad and moved out of my mom. She didn't like it, but I felt that it was something that I had to do. And now that I've done it, I feel a lot more better. I've got things. I'm moving up in the world slowly but surely.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I think there are a lot of people. I know the other day my cousin was talking about, you know, well, his dad was never around. His dad, he doesn't even know his dad. He tried to track him down a little while ago and found out that he's remarried and stuff, but never was able to get a hold of him. But I mean, a lot of people out there have those situations where either one or both parents are not around. And I guess a good question to ask you would be like, what kind of, I mean, there might be some younger groups out there. There may be some younger people out there that are having to deal with this, like deal with the fact that their parents aren't around. Like, what would you say, like, what would be your advice to those kinds of people?
Well, at the moment, for some reason, I don't talk to my mom that much. I don't call her, I don't go see her unless it's a holiday. She hates it, but it's just what I do. And I wish it wasn't like that. I wish I could just pick up the phone and call her every day and have the words to tell her and just have a conversation with her, get things back to normal, but it's hard for me to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because I haven't lived with her for years, so we don't have that relationship we used to, or if it's just me. Like I don't like, when I go out to see her, she's either sleeping because she worked or she's never there, so there's really no point for me to go out. And usually when we're out there for holidays, they always fight and bicker, and it puts a toll on me that I got to deal with it every time I'm out there. So then eventually I just quit going out. They hate it, I hate it, but you do what you got to do to survive. So one thing I would definitely say to any of you that are out there, I wouldn't recommend just up and forgetting your mother or aunts and uncles because things aren't going right. I'd constantly stay in touch if I was. It'd be better that way if you stayed in touch. Just let them know that you're there and you love them.
Yeah, and I mean, it's always hard to be the first person to do that, as you know. I'm trying to think of some other things that I know about you that we could just talk about. I mean, one thing, what about this? I mean, I know a lot of people struggle with this, and Angela and I were talking the other day about this, about how her and I personally were saying, you know, we don't clinically struggle with depression. We don't clinically struggle with being down, you know, or anything like that. But there are definitely times when we are down, when we are depressed. And I know, I mean, because you've told me before, you feel the same way, I guess, like from time to time. I mean, what's your experience like that been with that been like? Like, just you know, some days are like really great, then other days just like don't want to do anything, want to just quit everything kind of a thing. Like, what's your experience been like with that?
Usually it comes about like to me, it's like I have no life. I get up in the morning, get ready, go to work, come home, and I'm basically there for the rest of the night till the next day when I gotta do the same thing every day. I don't get out as much as I'd like to. When I do, it's for something that I'm involved with, which really I'm not really that involved with much besides, you know, the church band, fire department, and that's about it. Like, I don't get out, I don't hang out with much of my friends as much as I'd like to. I don't talk to a lot of them like I want to. So
yeah, what keeps you from doing that? What keeps you from not calling them, from not calling your mom, from not, like, I mean, if you want these things, and a lot of us are this way, we want certain things, but for some reason we never do anything about it until in some cases it's too late. I mean, that's not the case for any of these situations like you're saying now, but in some cases, a lot of times what we do is we like just keep thinking, oh, I really wish this was the case, and then we never do anything about it. What do you think it is it that like keeps us from that?
To me, I don't know what's holding me back. I mean, of course, I've got ways to contact them. I just don't find it in me to get up and make that initiative, to make the first step, make the first movement, to get out there and figure out what's going on with them and catch up with them.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That's just the way I am. Like,
yeah, and a lot of times it seems, I don't know, it's easier not to, but unfortunately it's not really like better. So I don't know, it's a lot easier. There's some car out there, like they were gonna pull up and then they decided they're just driving away.
They're creeping.
Oh, I guess we didn't want to be here after all. They're about to crash into my car.
Ooh, that'd be good.
So anyways, so another thing we talked about just a little bit ago when we were thinking of some stuff for this video, I mean, is something that I think actually most people out there can struggle with, and this is an issue that you know, I'm not just putting on him right now like, surprise, we're going to talk about this, or, you know, something that we talked about at Winter Weekend last year, and that a lot of people don't know that when it comes to issues of lust and when it comes to issues of porn and all that kind of stuff, the interesting thing when it comes to women is that 1 out of every 3 people who struggle with pornography are women. So that's something really interesting out there for those of you who are women and who are like, you know, I'm the only person who's struggling with this. I'm the only person who's a part of that because I'm a woman. Actually, it's 33% of all people are women. So that's a really crazy statistic, but I mean, neither of us are women, so that's as much as I could say about that. But anyways, on that topic of lust, on that topic of porn, I mean, what is your struggle with that? What is your history with that? Like, what, I mean, anything about that, I guess.
Basically, growing up, I've always been around computers. I knew how to use them. I've always had access to one. So one day I'm just sitting there, I find myself cruising through these sites that really shouldn't be, and it's like, to me, I found it like drinking. Not that I drink, but once you have one drink, it leads to another one. Then you have 2, it goes to 3. And it basically set with me. Once I started looking at it once, I'd find myself days going back to it. Just back and forth, but just constantly. I got caught a few times, but really didn't stop me because then I could just get my own computer. So I've got my fair shares of struggles with it.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like that's the case with a lot of people, but nobody really talks about it. And I mean, when we talk about that gift of going second, when we talk about, somebody standing up and being willing to say, hey, here's a little bit of how that happened to me. That's what happened right here, because now him being able to say that and being able to be honest, now he's given me the gift of going second and being able to say, you know what, that's been a struggle for me in the past as well. And just for the same reasons, the accessibility, I think today is a big issue because, I think even back in the days of, not that long ago, my dad, he's not that old, but in his day, you couldn't just have your phone. You couldn't just have, access to the internet at any time. You actually had to go into a store and go in front of somebody and buy something, and they put it like in a paper bag or something nobody could see. But you had to actually be, basically, what am I thinking, courageous enough or whatever to actually go in front of people and be like, oh yeah, I want to buy that or something. Now no one could know, I guess, unless they find something on your computer or something. So it's definitely becoming more accessible and definitely more of a problem, I think, because even on like TV shows and stuff, it's becoming more out there, the images that they use and stuff.
One thing about it is my dad knew, because he caught me once, but he didn't care. He just said that don't get caught. So I don't think that helped.
Don't get caught by who?
Whoever else was in the house.
Oh, okay.
When I would be home.
Yeah. Well,
If it was like his girlfriend, or kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's sometimes a hard thing because, if you don't have somebody, that if you know that the person that's living with you is just like, oh, well, whatever, it doesn't really matter. That's even harder because then you're like, well, there's no real reason not to, unless you can think of a deeper reason, which I guess, actually, why would you say that? What's the deeper reason for you to say, like, I don't want to do this, to not listen to, your dad says, oh, it's fine, whatever, just go ahead. Like, what within you says, like, oh, I shouldn't do that? For what reason?
Just the fact that I've been going to church. I know, the things that you should do, and down the road, I know that when I get married and I have a wife, that's basically, you shouldn't do that, because it states it in the Bible. But people do it, like on Fireproof. He had the same problem I had. It ruined their relationship, and that's something I don't want.
Yeah, and I think, and basically I think that, lust and pornography, what it does to women is it objectifies them. They become, I don't want to say property, but in a sense, it's just an image. It's just an object. Object is the right word I'm looking for. They just become an object, and it's not what I've always considered, and something really interesting when I was looking a lot into and working alongside and doing some stuff with Triple X Church, is they would point out that, I think they actually even had a shirt, or somebody had a shirt that said, every porn movie has somebody's daughter in it. Which is at first that's like really offensive. It's like a crazy statement or whatever. But when you think about it, you don't think about, these images or these people or whatever as somebody's daughter, sister, friend, or you don't really think about their personality. You just think about like, oh, well, they're beautiful, or they look good, or, kind of a thing. And so really just thinking of people on like another level, that's, I think, ultimately one of the biggest things that is wrong about it, because it treats women as objects, and in your mind it's just an object. Because I've never heard of anybody like saying like, yeah, I watch porn all the time, and I just really think about the women, and they're like, how nice they must be, like I wonder what they're doing on Christmas, like like nobody thinks about like their every day-to-day life, like why are they doing this, like why do they need money for kids that they've had and like they see no other way, like did they not have enough good grades to go to college so they have to do this, like what are the reasons like behind them doing this stuff? And when we start to think about that, a lot of times then it becomes easier to, I guess, reject those feelings or whatever. temptation. But anyways, so, well, do you have any other thoughts or additions or any other topics?
Nah,
Yeah, well,
not really.
well, we want to thank you guys again for watching for these videos. Like, there's just been so many responses every time we post one of these videos. There's just tons of people that have been contacting me and other people, and it's just been a crazy response. I really didn't expect to have this many views on these things, and people are just really connecting. We want to encourage you to do the same thing. After all these videos, we just want to encourage you to post your own video. Call me, text me. If you want to meet up with me, I have a camera. We can film your story. But just get your story out there, and don't be afraid to be transparent with people, because you can give the gift of going second as well. So we'll see you tomorrow.
Angela, no!